5120 by 1440p. Let that sink in just a little bit. Not a familiar resolution, is it? Well, Samsung has one-upped themselves from last year's model, the CRG9 49-inch 144Hz FreeSync 2 panel. That fell short in terms of vertical resolution, i.e. 3840 by 1080p. Originally debuted at CES 2019, which I had the honor of seeing in person, is the CRG9. The CRG9 is a monitor I immediately fell in love with. Again, with its 5120 by 1440p resolution, 120Hz refresh rate, and AMD's FreeSync 2 HDR 1000 on a VA panel, what's not to love? So 49 inches is a lot to love, right? Let's start off with the elephant in the room. Why on earth would anyone want a monitor this big? Why do some people want to have a 100-inch 4K HDR television? One word: immersion. Effectively having the equivalent of two 27-inch 2560 by 1440p panels side by side, the CRG9 fully lets the user be immersed in whatever they are doing. Now again, 49 inches is still a lot to love. I have an 80-inch desk that I made from a solid core door, and this guy takes up its half for sure. So make sure you have a large desk for the CRG9, because it's going to demand it. Now, since the CRG9 is such a large monitor, the stand has to be equally large as well. The footprint is quite simple but effective, having a simple wide design to carry the package load of 44 pounds. The stand can also be swapped out for the compatible 100 by 100 millimeter VESA mount adapter if you so desire. Just make sure that your monitor arm will support such a heavy beast. Moving back to the CRG9, the backside is mostly fantastic plastic with a white LED ring where the stand attaches to the monitor itself. The stand also allows for tilt, swivel, and as well as height adjustment, albeit don't expect it to get very high. However, this reduces neck fatigue by not having the strain on the neck to look up or at a slight angle. Also on the backside are two DisplayPort 1.4a ports, a single HDMI 2.0 port, two USB 3.1 Gen 1 Type A, two USB 2.0 Type A, and a 3.5mm output jack. A slew of cables are also included, which includes power, DisplayPort, HDMI, and a USB 3.1 uplink. The port placement is a point of discontentment for me, having a vertical orientation instead of the easier to plug in horizontal orientation. Also included is a plastic connection cover, which is why the ports are vertical, I would guess. I know this is a clean look that Samsung was going for, which is appreciated, but a vertical plug-in is very difficult to plug in a cable. Also, the CRG9 does not have any built-in speakers. But then again, when you spend $1,500 on a monitor, do you really want to use the crappy built-in speakers anyway? Moving around to the bezel of the CRG9 is a very thin border. However, at the chin is about 3/4 of an inch wide with a small Samsung logo in the center. Okay, let's talk gaming with the CRG9. Running a resolution of 5120 by 1440p on a VA type panel is effectively, again, two 2560 by 1440p monitors. So this is very close to running at a 4K resolution. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 7.4 million pixels compared to 8.3 million pixels of that of 4K. Take into account that the CRG9 is running at 120 Hz, not like the traditional 4K monitor running at 60 Hz. Think about it. The CRG9 is running 44% more pixels than a 4K monitor does at 60 Hz. It's pretty nuts. Now, add an HDR 1000 support, factory calibrated, and has a DCI-P3 95% color space, making games feel more vibrant and authentic. AMD's FreeSync 2 is also present in the CRG9, which aids in LFC or low frame rate compensation when coupled with a compatible AMD GPU, which currently I have an AMD Radeon RX Vega 64 on hand. Also present are several modes for FPS, RTS, RPG, and other game modes. And yes, you could cheat and enable the virtual aim point for on-screen crosshairs, but I really don't condone that. Another feature is the ability to take in two signals at the same time, like streaming on one side of the CRG9 with your desktop and stream chat on the other side on your laptop. The only thing missing that last year's CHG90 had was a KVM switch, which would have been helpful when running more than one system. So what do I think of this 49-inch monster? Well, it's a pity I can't keep it because it would be staying on my desk for a long time. It's just that you have ultra wide and then you have this 32:9 beast. It's just insane at how much you can see with the 1800R curvature. Remember, you're gonna need a pretty beefy GPU setup to keep this beast fed. I tested with my AMD RX Vega 64 I mentioned earlier, as well as the NVIDIA RTX 2080 Super from Zotac. While running an NVIDIA GPU on a FreeSync 2 display doesn't allow you to take advantage of any adaptive sync technology, gaming at higher refresh rates isn't bad either. It's just currently AMD doesn't have the high-end GPU market to really make this monitor shine to its full potential. Remember, Remember, NVIDIA just launched in January that NVIDIA GPUs would start supporting FreeSync monitors. Alright, HDR and monitor overclocking. Really, it's hard to have one with the other. With the CRG9, it's a bit of a give and take. While at its native frequency of 120 Hz, the monitor recognizes itself on Windows 10 as an 8-bit HDR with dithering. However, if you lower the frequency down to say 100 Hz, oh, I know that's a mortal sin, but you gain 10-bit HDR. But if you're okay with 8-bit colors, I was able to crank this panel up to 144 Hz. Needless to say, I'm quite speechless. 120 Hz on a 5120 by 1440p panel is already quite high, so I really wasn't expecting to see 144 Hz at all. Now, let's chat about pricing. Yes, I agree. $1,500 is quite a bit to spend on a monitor, even these days. But when you compare to the three other monitors out currently, which are the Philips 499P9H, the LG 49BL95C, and the Dell UD4919DL, all have a refresh rate of 60 Hz with no adaptive sync technology. All these monitors are also over $1,200. So paying a $300 premium for double the refresh rate with FreeSync 2 is what I consider not a bad premium to pay. It's just getting up to that price category in the first place. So to wrap things up, the Samsung CRG9 QLED 49-inch ultra-wide curved gaming monitor is quite frankly simply amazing. Gaming on the CRG9 is such an immersive experience that words can't even describe the feelings. Even though the CRG9 does have its issues with port placement, it manages to receive the Overclock Hottest Gear 2019 award. This award is a step above the normal 5 out of 5 flames. Samsung obviously listened to the community and made a couple of necessary improvements and hit it out of the park. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't liked and subscribed by now, you know what to do. I will see you in the next one. Blue Devil, out.